The 686th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing the college football and NFL seasons with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Heidi Ho, Generinos. Welcome to episode 686 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to Don't Worry 44, who let us know that Silver City, is a town in Grant County, New Mexico, which is, we were wondering about that the other day because the Silver City Strangler. How did the Silver City Strangler do? I'm going to have to ask my co-host in a second. He's thinking right now. I'm one of your hosts.
I'm trying to remember which one was the Silver City Strangler.
It wasn't me, Handsome Jeff Fox, and it wasn't Taco Fox as well. Silver City Strangler was
Fernandez, right?
Jose Reyes.
Oh, yeah, Reyes.
Jose Reyes. Did he win, Gumby? That's
no,
Gumby.
He lost. He lost to Fernandez. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yes, he didn't strangle anyone at LFA. Better luck next time. This is not an LFA episode, though. As you can see by the title, Invicta is back. I guess they're pretty much running monthly again, which is good to see. They got an event going down in basically their base spot, which would be Kansas City, Kansas, in the Memorial Hall. Some familiar names on this year card, a UFC vet at the top of the card, and then some other fighters that we have covered before. Another UFC castaway, actually a couple throughout the card as well. So 8 fights we're going to cover, 5 of them in depth, and we'll see if Gumby can give us some bonus picks on the last 3. Sound good? Good. And it's a Wednesday edition. It's actually a week and a day from today, but we're getting ahead of things because next week we got even more regional MMA we want to cover for you. So this would be November the 6th is the event. And the mastermind behind it all, the one and only Daniel Gumby Vreeland. Hello, officially now.
Yeah.
I set you up with nothing. Thoughts on this fight card, Gumby?
I like it. You know, there's a couple of fighters who I've had fluctuating feelings about. One of them who looked like absolute crap the last time out, and we'll talk about that ad nauseum because I may or may not have backed her, only to be quite disappointed. Actually, 2 of them that's true about, and we'll talk about whether or not I can trust again. I can learn to love again.
Yep. It's true. Invicta always puts on a good show. 8 fights doesn't take a heck of a lot of time either, so it's not going to eat a whole bunch of time out of your evening as well. But what else do you have to do on Wednesday? A couple college football games, maybe. I guess basketball is back. Basketball, maybe is baseball on? Oh, I guess by November the 6th, baseball will be done probably by then. So anyhow, Invicta is always fun. Before we get into it though, reminder, I mentioned baseball. If baseball is still on, actually, even in the off season, they have a few episodes. The MLB Gambling Podcast is the place to go. Mal and the boys know their stuff. And since you're tuning into us, thank you in advance. If you haven't already, please head over to Spotify, give us a 5-star rating because only you can help prevent corporate gambling from taking over. Now let's get back to the Invicta show here. Invicta FC 58, Ducote. Did we ever decide if is it Ducote or Ducote? I think it's Ducote, is it not?
I mean, we broke her fights down a lot, and no, we don't know the answer.
No, she's American. We'll say she's Ducote versus Ostroverkhova. I can say that easier than Ducote. So that is the main event. It's going down, as I said, November the 6th, a Wednesday, so a week from tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. CBS Sports Network is the place for Invicta now. Up here in Canada, it's on the Fight Network, which makes it convenient as well. Memorial Hall, Kansas City, Kansas. As I said, 8 fights, in a cage. We're giving you the 5 that Gumby wants to give you, and then actually main card fights, and then Gumby will get you some bonus ones at the end of this year's show. No odds yet because we are well ahead of things, but when the odds drop, you be sure to chat with us about it either in YouTube or in our Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Let's start things off with a familiar name at flyweight belt. It's Shanna Young, America versus Amanda Torres from Brazil, 3 5 rounds, 125. Torres is Sardina, which basically is what it sounds like, a sardine or a little sardine, I guess, right?
Yeah, if it's Dina, yeah.
Yeah. How can you be even littler than a sardine is what I'm saying. Very small. She's 9-7, 1 knockout, 3 submissions. She's been knocked out twice. This is her Invicta debut. We got a pattern. Loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So we got 7 fights. She has fluctuated loss and wins, losses and wins. She got TKO'd in her last fight. Do you dare bet against the streak here? 2014 Pro MMA debut. Used to fight at bantamweight, strawweight, atomweight, and 0-2 as a pro boxer. Young is the Shanimal, famously. 9-7, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions. She's been knocked out once, submitted once. 1-1 in Invicta. She's lost 2 straight fights and only won 1 of her last 4. She went 1-3 in UFC, 1-2 in PFL, 0-1 in Contender Series. A regional champion, has missed weight before at flyweight, used to fight at bantamweight, and she's not changed her name to 50K yet. She's still the Shanimal.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine both being a UFC fighter and fighting somebody with a bad record is going to make Shanna Young -350 favorite. If she's that, do I necessarily want to run to the window for it? Nah, I would probably wait to come down or get bummed out about it. But my pick here is Shanna Young. Shanna Young, you can say what you want about most of her game, but she's really strong. She works real well in the clinch. And she does a good job of bullying people. Her striking can sometimes be a touch slow, and if she's in bad grappling situations, she seems to almost give up. I don't think that would be a problem against Amanda Torres. Torres is somebody who herself tries to muscle everything, but as you mentioned, she's not particularly big. She's been down at like atom weight, so like her trying to out-muscle Shanna Young is just going to be silly. She's also like really bouncy on the feet, but like sort of without purpose. You know, when some fighters like think they're a better striker because they jump up and down all the time, and then like it messes up their range and makes it impossible for them to shoot a good takedown. Like that's kind of Amanda Torres here. Like I think she's bouncy for the sake of being bouncy without actually needing to do so or without actually using it for what it's intended for, which is to like control range and to get in and out. So I think Shanna Young probably going to tag her a bunch of times when she like over bounces in. And also if she winds up in the clinch, I think Shanna Young's going to just absolutely manhandle her. So give me Shanna Young here. Like I said, I'm guessing a bigger number than I'm going to particularly feel comfortable with.
Yeah. All righty. So a big favorite out the gate, but hey, he's got to give you picks that win. He can't give you leans. We don't allow that around these parts.
No leans.
No leans. Moving up to featherweight. Featherweight still exists in Invicta. Zurina Turrey from the United States versus Joy Pendell, United States as well. 3 5-minute rounds, 145. Pendell, Killjoy. I get it. Her name's Joy. Killjoy Pendell is 3-1 with 1 knockout. She's been submitted once. This is her debut. She's won 3 straight fights. So she lost her pro debut and then has won ever since. Regional champion, 1-0 pro grappler, 2 inches height over Turrey. Turrey is mayhem. 4-1 with 2 knockouts. She's been submitted once. This is her Invicta debut as well. She got submitted in her very last fight. Regional champion, used to fight at bantamweight, 6 years younger than Pendell. So not much on both these ladies, and they've not fought Invicta yet, but I'm sure Gumby has seen tape on these people.
I have. And I think it'll be a close fight because of what you mentioned. Similar records. Neither have fought in Invicta. I think Turrey's going to come in a slight favorite. We'll say like -135 plus 110, 115 on Pendell. And I like Turrey quite a bit here. I think for me, the biggest piece of this is that Pendell just looks so slow in her last fight on the feet. Like it was for the A1 featherweight championship. Against, the person who beat her in her first fight was who she won the championship off of. So she's avenged that only loss. But like when you watch her strike, like it seemed like it was not in full speed when I was watching the YouTube video of it. And then like Turrey, she doesn't necessarily have the greatest range and she doesn't necessarily do really great things standing until she's in the clinch. And I think that's the big piece for me here. Pendell doesn't throw hard enough or fast enough to keep you out of the clinch. In Turrey, once she's in the clinch, once she has that collar tie, the knees to the body, and then she does try to go upstairs with them, but at least the knees to the body are really damaging. She throws some really nice uppercuts from the clinch. I think what's going to happen here is Pendell is just not going to be able to deter Turrey from getting inside. Turrey's going to get that collar tie and just absolutely go to town on Joy Pendell. So yeah, give me Zurina Turrey. I think the clinch game is going to be the difference maker here.
You're the Killjoy now, Gumby. I'm saying Killjoy is going to lose, but hey, them's the breaks. Sorry, Killjoy. Before we move on, this will not kill your joy. Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em is one of the biggest menus for all sports. They have NFL. They have college football. They have MLB. They have the MMA. That's us. They have the NBA. They have NASCAR. They've got more. Boostober is upon us. It's almost over, though. We're almost out of October, which means you're getting a spooky amount of profit boosts and much more. Of course, the NBA has tipped off, and our Underdog's got lots of NBA pick'em plays to make. Gumby may even give you one coming up. Who's to say? You can now use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. Gumby, NBA play, another sport. What do you got?
Yeah, so on Tuesday, you're going to see the Kings in action in the NBA. And right now, Domantas Sabonis is putting up absurd scoring numbers. 26.5 points per game right now, early in the season, small sample size. But I think that means you could probably take the higher than on his points on Tuesday.
And what college did you go to? Remind the people.
He went to Gonzaga.
There you go. Sign up with our code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. Moving right along to a atomweight bout. Saori Oshima from Japan, and Palacios, not from Japan. She is from Mexico, and this is 3 5-minute rounds, 105. Palacios Guerrera, 9-3-1, 1 knockout, 5 submissions. She's been knocked out once, so pretty durable. Lady 1-0 Invicta. She's won 2 straight. Before that, she lost 2 straight. Used to fight at 115 pounds. 4 years younger than Oshima, 4 inches reach on her. Oshima is little giant. 14-5, 2 knockouts, 8 submissions. She's been knocked out once, so she is very durable as well. 0-1 Invicta. She's won 2 of her last 3 and 7 of her last 9. She did lose her last fight. She has multiple regional championships on her
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Get sticky with it. 3 inches taller than Palacios. And I have buried the lead here. Palacios is 4'8". Oshima, 4'11". Go ahead.
Short queens. Yeah, I'm going to take the shortest of the short queens. Anna Palacios. I think she's going to be a dog in this fight. It'll be interesting to see if the recent result from Oshima matters enough, but like she used to be a Dream and a Dream Jewels, which apparently different promotions. She won the titles in both of those promotions. And Palacios, maybe not as well traveled. Palacios did look really great in her last fight, and Oshima looked pretty terrible in her last one, which is why I'm kind of hoping the resume of Oshima carries her to being a favorite. My guess here is like maybe Oshima -175, Palacios hopefully like right around +150. If that's the case, I like Palacios like for 2 reasons. Number one, Oshima had literally no striking defense in her last fight. She just stood there and got punched while she reached for takedowns. And Palacios is a good boxer. I like what I see out of her standing. She puts combinations together. She circles away. She doesn't stay in front of you. And then in her last fight, Palacios like showed that she's a halfway decent wrestler. She wound up scoring like 3 or 4 takedowns in that fight. Kind of surprised me because I had pegged her to win that fight, being that I thought she would just light her opponent up on the feet and just keep it a striking match. And eventually she was just like, nah, I think I want to show that I'm a well-rounded fighter. So Palacios, I think might have the wrestling to at least stuff what Oshima wants. And also like, I think her boxing is fast enough that like, as long as she keeps hitting her and moving away, she won't be there for Oshima to take down. So, Oshima's wrestling, obviously the scariest part of all of this, but I'm hoping both the gains that Palacios makes and the fact that Oshima's striking, I mean, it looks way worse than when she was fighting in Japan. I think hopefully those 2 things combine to give Palacios multiple advantages here, and hopefully with dog money cashing.
Based on Tapology, again, plus 285 would be their estimate, or my estimate based on their lines. So you would take that, would you not?
I would very much take that. Yeah.
All right. He's got a thing for the short queens. He can't help himself. All right. Co-main
event
they're
time. Both short. They're both short queens.
That's true.
Let's start.
Very, 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 very true. All right. Co-main event. Kate, basic bitch. That was my joke, right? Back when we did her fight before.
But it's Bacik.
I know, Kate, that doesn't make the joke funny, though. So Kate Bacik versus DeAnna Bennett. So England versus United States of America at flyweight, 3 5-minute rounds. Bennett, vitamin D, is 14-9-1. 2 knockouts, 2 submissions. She's been knocked out once, submitted 4 times. 7-5 in Invicta. 1-2 of her last 3, 4-2 of her last 6. Did win her last fight. She went 3-2 in Bellator, 0-0-1 in the UFC, 1-1 in the Ultimate Fighter. She's missed weight 3 times at 125 pounds, so keep an eye on that. Used to fight down at strawweight, up at bantamweight. 2012 pro MMA debut, 0-2 as a pro grappler. The Queen of the South, Bacik, 5-1 with 2 submissions, never been finished in a fight. 1-0 in Invicta. She's won 5 straight fights after dropping her pro debut. Has not lost since August 2022 when she made her debut. Regional champion, 1-1 in pro grappling, 9 years younger than Bennett, 3 inches taller, 3 inches of reach.
Yeah, so you talk about the age, the height, the reach, all of that kind of stuff favoring Bacik. She got to be a huge favorite, right? Like negative 275. And I'm going to take a stab on the veteran underdog here in DeAnna Bennett, somebody who I doubted in her last fight pretty heavily. And I was on the Bacik side. But I'll be honest with you, I was on the Bacik side the last time when she fought Paula Bittencourt. I think she lost that fight. I know I wound up getting gifted a decision, and it wound up making, me look good for the day. But like, she gave up way too many positions and way too many takedowns. And like, they do the open scoring. It was 19-19 going into the last round. I think she spent 3.5 minutes on her back and somehow won the fight. I don't know how they decided that. It was like kind of sketchy for me, but I took it. And the thing is that Amanda Bittencourt or Paula Bittencourt. Oof,
Somebody Bittencourt.
Paula Bittencourt is not DeAnna Bennett when it comes to being a grinder. DeAnna Bennett is like the ultimate grinder of all time, right? Like that's the thing that has always made her what she, like go back to her win in Bellator against Justine Kish. Like Justine Kish, that is a hell of a win on your resume. In her last fight, she fought Liz Tracy, somebody who I also think is a great grinder, and she couldn't outgrind DeAnna Bennett in the way that she wins. Like Bennett is probably not going to be the better striker in this one. But Kate Bacik kind of showed in her last fight that it sort of doesn't matter if she's a better striker than somebody. She's going to get in those clinches and doesn't seem to be winning many of those positions. Now, with the height and the reach advantage, maybe she gets in the clinch a little bit less. But like, I sort of think DeAnna Bennett can just bully her way into them repeatedly. I like Kate Bacik a lot. I think her potential is really high. I think originally touted her as somebody who could be on Contender Series. But I do think that this style matchup is just like kind of a bad one for her. And that like DeAnna Bennett, she was in the 500th Invicta fight very recently. The fight, aforementioned fight with Liz Tracy. That was their 500th fight ever. She seems to not just be coming back with like, fun accolades on her, agenda, like, oh, it'd be fun to fight in the 500th fight and to do this and do that. Like she seems to have a purpose. She wants to win that flyweight title again. And like, her grinding style is going to beat a lot of these flyweights. So I like DeAnna Bennett here. I think she comes in with purpose, scores a ton of takedowns, and winds up winning this fight.
Give us a number, a guesstimate.
Oh, I think I said originally Bacik probably negative 275 or something like that. So like 250 on Bennett. And like, I would be shocked if she was less than 2-1, just based on the prospect type on Bacik.
Only 12% of Tapology users are picking Bennett, so plus 733 perhaps. 700
yeah, I
I
think you can't necessarily go with the Tapology numbers to find those lines.
Case. Yeah.
But like, based on the fact that only 12% of you said 12% of Tapology users think like plus 250 would make sense, right? Like 12% of people would pick a 250 underdog.
We'll see if that number changes after we drop our episode. See if Gumby moves it. All right, before we get to our main event and our bonus picks, we're brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business, BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. US players are always welcome. BetUS is live with Trick or Treat on Horror Street. From now until Halloween, BetUS will be offering daily promotions and raffle entry to win a sports or casino prize pack, and they will give it all away on October the 31st. You can enter multiple times, and every $200 deposit gets you one entry. So check out all their MMA lines there and go to sportsgamblingpockets.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpockets.com/BetUS, promo code SGPN, so they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. And SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me. Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop, and also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Plus, Rhythm's NBA models are now live. Check out the Al Horford props there. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Back to Invicta we go, to the main event with Emily Ducote versus Yulia Ostroverkhova. So US versus Russia, 3 5-minute rounds at strawweight. Ostroverkhova is 9-3-1, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions. She's been submitted twice. 0-1 in Invicta. She's lost 2 straight. Before that, she's gone 6-2-1. Regional champion, used to fight at flyweight, 1-0 in pro kickboxing, 2 inches height, 3 inches reach over Ducote. Ducote is Gordina, little fat, 13-9, 3 knockouts, 4 submissions, been submitted once, so she's durable at the very least. 4-1 in Invicta and the former champion. She's only won 1 of her last 4 fights. She did lose her last fight. She went 2-3 in the UFC, 4-4 in Bellator. Multiple regional championships on her
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Used to fight at flyweight, 5 years younger than Ostroverkhova. Is she one of the people that has disappointed you, Gumby, that you mentioned off?
Yeah, Saori Oshima was the other one. I picked her in her last fight, and she forgot how to wrestle and then got pieced up on the feet. Ostroverkhova, I think I picked her as a big underdog to upset Tina Black, because I've never picked a Tina Black fight right in my whole life.
No.
At least I don't think I have. And Ostroverkhova looked as bad as somebody could look in that. Like, I will be shocked if this isn't 4 figures. Emily Ducote should come in negative 1,000 at least, maybe negative 1,200. There's no reason not to take her, other than the line will be so ridiculous that you might not want to get involved. But Ostroverkhova looked, there wasn't a spot in that fight where she looked like she was competitive with Tina Black. Tina Black could take her down whenever she wanted. She could punch her whenever she wanted. She could put her in the clinch whenever she wanted. It was like there was a grappling dummy in there with her. And that's, I think, set up to be a bounce back fight here for Emily Ducote. I don't mean to say that they're, this is seedy matchmaking or anything like that. But if I was a promoter and I watched Ostroverkhova's first fight in the promotion, and that was what she looked like, I was like, oh, maybe she doesn't belong in here. Maybe she's not ready for Invicta level. Maybe she should go get some experience in a small regional Russian promotion or something like that. And instead what they did was they said, let's give her a former UFC fighter. Which whatever. I guess you got to fight the people who they have in there, and they got to put a big name on the marquee. But Ducote should be fighting better people than this. So I'm going to pick Emily Ducote. I don't think it's competitive in any way, shape, or form. Looking for hopefully something south of 4 figures.
Yeah. So minus 900. We'll say this line's going to be. All right. How many people are in Tapology? Since that's my new kick, apparently, are picking her 93%.
Yeah, you really like the Tapology.
I just thought of that. Hey, I can predict lines through Tapology. I never thought of that before. All right. There's recap and then Gumby. I will kick it back to Gumby. He'll give you some bonus picks. We go to Ducote. He has got Vitamin D, DeAnna Bennett. He has got Palacios, the smallest of the small queens, shirt queens, Turrey and Young. All right. Lightning rounds. That bang boom. Pow, Gumby. Only 3 other fights to choose from.
I only had 2 picks. If I knew there were 8 fights, I probably should have done all 3. Hit me up in the Discord if you want my pick on the 3rd one. I don't remember it off the top of my head. The first one I'm going to take Saori Cannon. She fought a very close fight with Kay Hansen in her last fight, went to a split decision. One of the judges had it for her. I don't know what the line will look like in her fight, but she's game as hell. And having a good fight with a former UFC fighter who herself is pretty damn tough. Obviously that wins me over in for her. And then the other one I'm going to take is Magdalena Shaban. She's a Polish prospect. I want to say she's only 1-0 in her pro career, but this will be her 25th fight of her 26th fight of her career, if I'm not mistaken, because she's 1-0 as a pro. She's 21-3 as an amateur.
She likes to fight for free.
And she's an IMMAF champion. So she's the real deal. You're going to see a lot of things from her. Granted, hopefully the fight goes more than 2 seconds, but you will see a lot of things from her. She's going to be sticking around for a while. I don't know that her line will be playable because I think the books probably see a 24 fight AMI record and a world champion on the amateur scene and are going to juice that lineup good. But if it's playable, check it out if it's playable. So my two that I like, Saori Cannon and Magdalena Shaban.
All right. You're all set for a week from tomorrow. Invicta FC 58. In the meantime, we shall be in the Discord as per usual, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. We shall be, of course, in the comment section on YouTube, MMA Gambling Podcast. Thank you for subscribing. You can check us out on Twitter at SGPN MMA, at Gumby Vreeland, at Jeff Fox Writer. You can check me out on Instagram at Jeff Fox Writer. You can check me out on moneymma.substack.com, my Substack. Enter my free UFC weekly pick'em contest. You can check Gumby out on Top Turtle MMA Podcast, who is on it this week.
Cal Machado, who is fighting at UFC Edmonton this weekend, and Mansour Abdul Malik will be fighting at UFC Vegas 100 the following week.
So check that out. And of course, we are at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. But back tomorrow, we got UFC, I want to say Vegas 100, but no, UFC Edmonton is this weekend. So we'll be breaking all that down for you. It'll be me, the Queen of the South, and Vitamin D, Daniel Vreeland. We'll talk to you then.